Nobody cared. This was his comeback, and he's doing rap again. And
when he does that, and he's doing, and you see his hair, like he's upside down, and he's doing this.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I have been around cats all my life. You open the door, the cat is gone. I don't care who you are. I don't care how important the animal is to you.
If it was the case back in the 90s, is because the clarity wasn't there, so you weren't able to see the gradual degrading.
But they can. And I'm like, oh, that adds a whole different element to how I feel about all the characters involved. And I thought that was really cool. You know, it's just little things that when you're a kid, you watch it for the funny stuff.
Because basic information is one thing, direct information is very different.
They just neuralize the whole planet when you like sign up to be like Men in Black, and like everybody on the planet forgets that you ever existed.
Hello, everyone out there in broadcast land.
Hey!
Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Chuck.
My name is Lee.
My name is Will.
Will, you look like you're in pain.
I am. I hurt.
I'm sorry.
It happens.
I'm sorry.
What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about the I think it's 1997, right?
Yes, it is.
1997 film Men in Black, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith, Rip Torn, and Fisk from...
Well, that would be Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes.
There you go.
Which...
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes, which I was like, I was like, this guy looks so familiar. He looks totally different in this movie than he does as Fisk. Totally.
Well, I mean, as so many things, yeah.
Oh my
yes,
gosh,
absolutely.
I think he was the best actor in this entire film.
Well, you only
I
see
agree.
Him normal. You only see him normal without a ton of makeup for 30 seconds.
It wasn't just the makeup, though. It was the way that he was contorting his body throughout this entire film. It was insane. I can't imagine like the massage therapy he must have gone through after this, because it must have been crazy.
My favorite is when he's trying to like watch what's going on, and he's in the truck, and he's like trying to look natural.
Yeah.
I think it's better when he's walking down the street and he tries to give the guy the hand.
Yeah. Everything's all right. How you doing, buddy? It's crazy. It's crazy. Something else that you didn't mention at the beginning of this: the movie is directed by a gentleman by the name of Barry
Sonnenfeld, right?
Sonnenfeld, who has a murderous row of films, if I do say so myself. Addams Family, Addams Family Values, Get Shoddy, Men in Black, Wild Wild West.
Same guy did Wild Wild West.
Same guy did Wild Wild West, and of course Men in Black 2, Big Trouble, RV, Men in Black 3. Mm-hmm. So sure.
Did he do Men in Black International?
No,
that is not listed here under his filmography. I did not think he was involved with that movie.
Yeah, dude, and I'm actually kind of impressed that all three of those Men in Black movies were all done by the same director. That doesn't tend to happen. You know, usually you might see the same producer or same writers, but hey,
three doesn't feel like it was.
I think it did.
Yeah. I think 3 was garbage.
Oh, it was horrible.
I liked it.
How do we make things better? Let's bring in time travel.
Sure.
I love it.
Sure. Of course. Because it's time travel.
I know.
So, Will, did you how did you feel about this film?
I love this movie. I love this movie when it first came out. I loved this movie when it first came out. The special effects, like everything in the 90s, did not age very well, but I can look past all that because it's a 90s film. I thought
they were fantastic for the most part, except for a lot of it was practical effects, except for the big bug at the end.
Yeah.
A lot of it was, except for the bug. The spaceships were really cool. The little worm guys who were
speaking Huttese.
The big dude that Kay is like, careful, he's grumpy.
Yeah.
That was a real thing sitting there.
Yeah.
The dude's head getting shot off looked horrible.
Mm-hmm. Tony Shalhoub.
That looked fantastic.
No, it did not.
For back then, it was good.
For back then, it was good. I'm saying, like, I did say the special effects in this movie do not stand up, but then again, nothing from the 90s does.
Here's the funny part: is the part where what's his name? Was it Jeeves? Is it Jeeves?
Jeeves, yeah.
Jeeves.
When his head gets shot off.
Yeah.
I don't know on Plex if they did it or not, but on Amazon, when his head grows back,
Mm-hmm.
he says something about why are you such a jerk, and I'm like,
Oh, that's very different.
he did not
That's
say
way
that in the
different.
original. He
No,
did
said,
not.
you
Do you have-
insensitive? Yeah, we know it's.
And this one's you insensitive jerk. Do you have any idea how much that hurts?
That's
And
a
I'm
really
like,
dumb edit.
Yeah.
Why would they change that?
That's so
Do you
stupid.
have any idea how
I
much
mean,
that stings?
for
Yeah.
what happened, I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
This
calling
is-
somebody a jerk.
Yeah, it's weird. That's a weird edit. No, but
I'm
I
guessing
love
Plex didn't do that.
I still love this movie. I think it's fantastic. I think it's for an early Will Smith performance, I think he did a fantastic job.
Well,
He
it's
did an
semi-early, 'cause
absolutely.
This was the year after Independence Day, right? Because '96, I think, was Independence Day. So this was like his next. I mean, he did Bad Boys before Independence Day, correct? Because the original Bad Boys was 90.
I thought,
Yeah,
I really
95.
thought- I thought,
Yeah,
Okay. So it's like.
but he's
Bad
better.
Boys,
He's better.
Independence Day.
He's
better
better
on his own,
in
in this
this.
sense.
He's
Oh.
better in this than I think he was better in this than he was in Independence Day or even maybe Bad Boys. Because in Bad Boys and Independence Day, he was still kind of shaking off the Fresh Prince thing that was
Yeah.
going on with him. He did it really well here. How he was able to like slip in and out of doing comedy into serious roles. Like he did a lot. He did that better here than he did in either one of those movies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
really?
just me.
I didn't feel the stench of Fresh Prince on Bad Boys at all.
I
I
feel like he was
do.
very different. I feel like he was very different in Bad Boys. And that's what
He was-
made-
you
that's
know what?
made his character more serious in Bad Boys.
You know what the problem was with Bad Boys is he was trying too hard not to be
Not to be
that.
funny.
He was
Well,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
way
Next to
too
Martin
hard
Lawrence.
not
Right.
next to Martin Lawrence. He was trying way too hard not to be funny, and that kind of made it funny for me. So
Yeah.
maybe that's just
Have you seen Bad Boys for Life? Martin Lawrence is like a little
Yeah.
pudgy.
Oh,
Little
Yeah.
pudgy
He
dude.
was pudgy
gained
in
a
Bad
lot-
Boys too.
no,
yeah,
he's
Yeah,
pudgy
yeah.
in Bad Boys for Life.
yeah,
He's kind of like Fat Thor.
a little bit,
Funny.
a little bit there.
I'm actually surprised that you liked this movie.
Why wouldn't I? It's the '90s. I love. There's a lot of movies from the '90s that I love. I'm a '90s kid. Why wouldn't I
we
love
grew
this?
up with it.
Yes,
grew
Because
up with
there's
it.
so many movies you're like, I
But-
can't
but-
say this
but-
is from the 90s.
But that's the thing is
like The
okay,
Rock.
So this came
that's
out.
different.
when
That's
we were-
Nicolas Cage.
So we were like the target audience when this movie came out.
Well, of
like,
course.
you know, you're a little bit older than us. Like when this came out, this was like Burger King toys. Actually, I wish I brought it with me. I still have my neuralizer from Burger King, and for some reason the
course you
battery's
do.
not dead. I don't know why. I never had to replace the battery.
You
But-
never used it.
No, I mean, yeah. Well, it didn't work. All right, I tried. It just, you know, my mom kept remembering that I was grounded.
This
I
is
don't
a bad
understand.
joke, but you should put it in your suitcase when you travel and see if you get caught with it.
Sir.
9 out of 10 times. What movie was that from?
I don't know.
Where he gets stopped. He's on his way, and he's like 9 out of 10 times it's usually this, but every once in a while it's
You mean in one of these movies?
no.
I don't
I forget
recall.
what movie it was from.
I don't know.
Oh, it was from Fight Club.
Oh, jeez.
It's from
Okay.
Fight Club.
Yeah, when he's flying
On the
back.
phone.
Oh, sure.
and he gets
Anyways,
stopped because his baggage gets checked.
so I'm still befuddled by why you would think that I wouldn't like this movie. Like, what about like
Because
that?
we've talked about stuff from the 90s, and you're like, every time we do, you're like, I can't stand stuff from the 90s. It never holds up.
We talked
this
about
movie-
one movie from the '90s that I really didn't like, and that was like The Rock. And I still like The Rock. It's Nicolas Cage, so it's goofy to me. Everything else from the '90s that we've ever talked about, I really enjoyed. And like Lee said before, like we were the target audience for this, so naturally, it was gonna like hit me in a lot of ways when I first saw it, especially when I first saw it. When I first saw it, I loved it. When I first saw it, I loved the movie and I loved the song, despite how many times that thing got played on the radio. That
Oh
song
my
was
God.
killed to
All of it.
death.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
It
album.
was,
That
yeah.
album was killed to death.
No,
Jiggy
the
with it
song. Yeah, yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
that was a big deal. That was Big Willie style. That's when he
Yeah.
went from, you know, parents just don't understand to, hey, you know, I'm still gonna do my thing, but I'm
You're
gonna take
about
myself a
10
little more
years away.
seriously.
You're about 10 years
know.
off. Parents Don't Understand came
I
out in
know.
the 80s. You need to
I know.
come on.
I'm just saying, like, he's not doing what Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the song. Okay, the reality is he was doing his own thing again. Like, when was the last album before Big Willie Style?
I don't care.
Exactly. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. This was his comeback, and he's doing rap again, and he's doing, I mean, I don't even call what he does rap.
it's 90s rap.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. I don't know, there's different styles.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
DJ.
Sure.
I mean, every time I hear his name, all I think is him getting thrown out of the house from Uncle Phil. just a dummy thrown out of the house.
What was your favorite part of this movie, Will?
I don't think I have a favorite part. I think I just like the whole thing. I think maybe my favorite part isn't even like a piece of action. It's more like a piece of dialogue when they're talking about whether or not Will Smith when we're talking about whether or not Will Smith is actually gonna like join the Men in Black, and they're having that conversation on the bench, and they're like, the average person you can talk to, people are stupid. It's like it's so true.
A person is smart.
The person is smart. People are stupid, and it's so true. It's 100% true. You can sit down and have a conversation about anything with anybody as long as it's just like a one-on-one or a group of intimate people. But like try to tell the same thing to like a group or like the masses, forget about it. You're gonna be stoned. So it's wild how like they found a way to like shoehorn things like that into this movie. I thought it was really clever. And again, Vincent D'Onofrio, I think he's the best part of this movie. Simply for the way that he was moving, simply for the way that he contorted his body throughout this entire thing. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was fantastic, and he's one of those actors. I'm like, he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm like, this guy's a fantastic actor.
There you go back. Hi, Joker.
Oh, well,
I just like.
Yeah.
He is so good.
Yeah.
He's super good.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why he doesn't get the credit he deserves is because he spent, a decade or more doing one of those stupid Law and Order shows. What was he doing? Crime Sex Unit or whatever? Like, he was doing that for, like, a good decade or more, and he was just off of everybody's radar because it was a trash show. Like, that's probably the reason why.
And then he did Daredevil.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic in Daredevil.
Absolutely fantastic.
I mean, he popped up in Jurassic World, and he was popping up in random things, but he wasn't.
Did Daredevil 10 years ago.
Yeah. And Jurassic World was what? 10 years ago.
It was after Daredevil.
I don't think so.
No, but
regardless,
you would figure he should have been a massive deal after Full Metal Jacket, and it just didn't really happen.
That was him, wasn't it?
Yes.
I just said hi.
He
Joker.
just
yes,
he
that was
we
him.
just yes.
I never.
That's where it began. That's where it started.
I never thought of that.
This is my rifle.
Huge.
There are many like it, but this one is mine.
Yeah, dude.
You're right.
Yes, that's his big break.
See, that's the thing, though, is that he's one of those actors where you're like, he looks so different. Everything he does, it's like I never put two and two together.
Yeah,
but just like, and his transformation in that movie is incredible. To go from the buffoon to like a nut, to like
sitting on the toilet with a shotgun.
Yes,
with a
it is. It is night and day. It's a stellar performance, and how his career never blew up after that is wild to me.
Fantastic too.
Yes, it is.
And that movie is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
We haven't done that movie. We should. That would
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
Just the first
half.
Like,
once they're out of boot camp,
that's one of those movies that blows my mind. And after they leave boot camp, the movie's like, what happened?
Trash. It's trash.
It's not trash.
It's not trash. It becomes a war movie.
It's so serious. Yeah, that it's no longer what you were just watching. I mean, the
me so horny, me love you long time. Come on, you got.
That's not
lines like that.
That's just the seriousness of the situation there. But everything else, like Arlie Ermy going off on people.
The best part of that movie is Arlie Ermy.
It is hilarious.
Yes,
like the 100%. Stuff that he comes up with, or I mean, that was written for him.
And then Pyle blows him away, and then the movie's over. Like that's it's weird.
Yeah, it's a very different film after that.
That's what I'm saying. It's the first half is really, really good. The last half, it's like
that's not even a half. That's like half hour maybe.
No, it's longer than that.
Is
It's
it?
like the
It's a
first
good-
hour.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
good.
okay.
It's
The first
half
hour
the
of that
movie.
movie is
That's crazy.
crazy.
That's nuts. Anyway, yeah. So you're good.
I mean, I
How'd you
guess
feel
so. I've tried to like continue a sentence, and like
Sorry.
neither one of you would
Go.
let me, so I just kind of like.
I'll stop. Go.
No, I'm for the most part I'm done. For the most part I'm done. I thought that there's one thing in this movie that I didn't like that I
Well, I do
really.
have one question for you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go.
There's one major part in this movie that I absolutely hated, and it's the whole Orion's belt thing. How it turned out to be just like the collar on the cat.
I liked that.
The galaxy is around a cat.
I liked that.
Come on. It's kind of corny.
Eh. Well,
It's
I mean,
kind of
yeah.
corny. All right,
This movie's
so
not taking
this
itself
this
seriously.
alien prince has like what do they say? Like an unlimited source of energy, and he put it
Oh, yeah.
around a cat.
Subatomic, yeah.
Subatomic,
It was like
an unlimited
massive-
source.
massive-
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, an
Where's the
unlimited
best
source
place
of
to hide
energy.
something in plain sight.
Yeah.
A cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens if the cat gets out and gets hit by a car and like what happens then? It's gone. Or what happens if
Yeah.
the cat runs away? What happens if you
that
can't
cat
find the
was-
cat? What seriously,
this
like
cat was
anything can
always
happen.
with him.
Yeah,
It's a
he always
cat.
had the cat with him. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this cat was his prized possession next to the galaxy.
It
He had
doesn't
pictures
matter.
of it.
It does not
this-
matter at all. It does
cat
not
wouldn't
matter
even-
at all.
even the
Listen,
morgue when
I
he was
have
dead, he was still
I
with him.
have
Yeah.
I have been around cats all my life. You open the door, the cat is gone. I don't care who you are. I don't care how important the animal is to you. You open that door, goodbye. See you later.
My question is, did the cat know him as the little alien dude, or did the cat
No.
only know him as the?
No, I'm sure the cat knew
bodysuit?
him as a little alien dude.
There-
I think the cat would just eat him.
There is a problem with this cat, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Didn't
your problem.
scratch his eye out.
You missed that whole line from the cop when he drops the cat.
Yeah.
He drops. There's a problem with the cat.
Yeah.
She's like,
Sure.
"What's the problem?" She's like, it's your problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
I loved this movie. This movie was so fun.
So,
Go ahead.
me? Okay.
Go ahead.
It's yours. It's your turn, Lee.
So,
Go ahead.
when this movie first came out, loved it. Absolutely loved it. When the movie was, I've got a hipster complex. I don't know. When the movie was just like the biggest thing ever, I got pretty tired of it. I watched it again. I think it was like this past Super Bowl weekend. I ended up watching like all three of these. They were on TV. So it was like my dad and I were like, we just threw them on, and we were like maybe halfway through this and we watched it. And it was like commercial breaks, so it's like, oh, okay, we talk in the middle, and then it's like, oh, the movie's back on, and it was kind of playing in the background, but, I was like, wow, this was not bad. Like they really did do a good job, and it did still age well. Maybe the CG is a little off. I mean, I did kind of say like the CG was definitely on par with the time, and some of it was really well played out because it wasn't overly done. The only time you really saw CG was when there was really no other way to do it.
It was
a big
used at
giant
minimum.
cockroach-
It was used
Yeah.
very minimally. Yeah.
Right, as opposed to like Star Wars Episode 1, where it's just like half the characters and they were all CG.
Yes.
This was nice because it was only used when you needed, like him getting thrown around with the squid lady's
That
arms.
looks so stupid.
Okay, good. The baby in his arms when he gets shot back out and he's holding it, that thing's practical effects. Looks
Yeah.
great. Looks
Right.
amazing. The blinking eyes and stuff like that. Really, really cool. The dude's eyes, the gills or whatever, he was out of breath.
Yeah.
That looked really good. For the
So
time.
when
It's like,
when he's
whoa.
getting
It
when
still
he's
looks
getting
good.
Yeah,
yeah, that still looks good. But when he's getting slammed on the hood of the car,
yeah, it's
Now-
obvious CG
now,
fake.
hang
Yeah.
on, it's only CG fake because the movie's been upscaled to 720 1080 or whatever.
Right,
Back
right.
then when it was what 240 480 at
480.
best
480,
at best in 97 when it came out, you couldn't tell. Watching it now, you can so tell that Will Smith is pixelated to all hell. Like it looks
Oh, yeah.
so bad.
But the thing is, this movie is still so ingrained in my head from seeing it back then that I don't see that. I see past it.
Nah.
I'm following it for the story. This time, so sitting and watching this again. So again, when I watched it back Super Bowl weekend, it was kind of in passing. It was on. I'm like, I really enjoy this. They did a great job. But this last time watching it, there were lines I picked up, which I wish I wrote down. That I was like, wow, that's a really great line. This all kind of makes sense together. One big thing was I always looked at, the Bug here, D'Onofrio's character, Edgar, with the Edgar suit. His goal was basically, I want the galaxy because I want to rule the galaxy, and that's why he wants it. I didn't pay attention to the whole point of it was basically the Bugs want it because it basically contains the power to destroy the Archilians and then like really anybody else because of the amount of subatomic energy that it has.
Sure.
And then you get the whole thing later on with the Archilians that are like, when I saw the whole thing, like, sorry, I was just like, oh man, they're just being jerks and whatever. It's like, no, the reality is we don't want to destroy your planet.
Yeah.
But in order to save our entire species and others, we might have to blow you up. So if you don't get it back
in 8 minutes,
yeah,
that was really funny though. That was really funny. Hand over the galaxy.
Standard week, which is 1 hour.
Hand over the galaxy, or we'll destroy Earth. Sorry.
like I didn't get that as a kid. I didn't understand why they were saying that, but the reality was like they did not want to have to kill everybody down on Earth, but they were doing it because they were protecting their people. I'm like, oh wow, this makes so much more sense. He gets this power, he can kill them, so they're doing what they can. And I'm like, oh, that adds a whole different element to how I feel about all the characters involved. And I thought that was really cool. It's just little things that when you're a kid, you watch it for the funny stuff. You pick up the basic idea of the story, but then as you grow up and start watching things, you start like, I want to know what this dialogue's about. Like, where were they going with it?
Right.
Does it make sense? Does it add up? And everything here does add up. I mean, it's sci-fi. You're gonna see stuff. I'm not
the
saying all
story
this stuff
is cohesive.
Yeah, it is, and it all makes sense. Even the second movie and the third, to a point. Like things do line up and they make some sense. But
which is wild for a 90s sci-fi movie to make this much sense.
Right. So, again,
like compare it to Independence Day.
Yeah,
Independence Day.
I love Independence Day.
Yeah, but it can fall apart pretty easily.
Well, of course it can.
He flew a plane into the ship and it exploded.
Up theirs. Yeah. Yes,
I'm just
he
saying.
launched a nuclear weapon.
I'm just saying. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. He flew the plane up into the ship and it just blew up. That does no. I'm sorry. A human computer virus took down an alien system. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's Jeff Goldblum.
I don't care.
That's what the answer is right
there. Yeah. Oh my God. I gotta go call my mother.
Forget my lawyer. There are some good one-liners in that movie.
There are good one-liners. Now that's what I call a close encounter.
Yeah, like these movies were like generation defining. Like when that came out, when this came out, and again, we're like the target audience. Like our generation is the target audience for these movies because we were really starting to form in the 90s. Our brains and how we were putting things together, and now we can look back and we start recognizing like, wow, okay, here's what this meant. Somebody our age watching it now, if we watch this for the first time today, we'd be like, this is stupid. But the fact that it's nostalgic for us because we grew up with it makes us go, you know what? This is not that bad. I feel like if we just encountered it for the first time...
Or we just go, oh, this is horrible. We just love it anyways because it's nostalgia.
Right,
pretty much.
Right.
Nostalgia.
So it's really hard to go into this unbiased because all three of us grew up with this. So do I have a favorite part? It's got to be now that I'm not hearing it all the time, it's got to be Edgar. Edgar, your skin's hanging off your bones. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah.
And it looked really good, too.
Yeah.
Like the way they did it and he pulled it back. And I always loved it. I remember catching on to it because when it cuts to the other shot of him holding it.
He's just sitting there holding it.
He's just sitting there holding his head. Like, there's no effect anymore. And he was like, let's go. And I've always seen that, but I forgave it because it was so far away and you don't think about it. But it was a great effect. And then later on, he's like, oh, I put my hands on my head. Like this, and he pulls it off, and like the way that he speaks the entire time, again makes no sense because if the creature's head is all the way down here, how is he making the mouth talk and making that voice?
Nah.
Because when he pulls it off, he like uncurls himself, and like that means his head was like up his butt the entire time. So how was he moving the mouth.
Speaking of the ending,
and again, how can that thing fit in his body? He would have been like this giant balloon thing going down the street. Because that thing was huge.
It's completely
I don't
impractical.
Care how you can contort. There's no way that makes sense.
It's completely impractical. There's one thing in this movie that I never noticed before. This is my first time watching it that I noticed. At the end, when Kay blows his guts out and split in two and everything else and goes flying, I'm going to get my gun back, and they go through the whole ending.
You see him walking in the background.
You see him walking in the background. Never noticed that before. This is my first time.
That was my first time seeing it.
This is my first time ever noticing that it was walking in the background. Never noticed it before.
Wow.
Ever.
You're so focused on the conversation there.
Yes.
You think of it, but
you're so focused on the conversation.
I've
my
always
first time
known that
noticing it.
Wow.
That's another thing. That's another thing about the conversations that are going on in this movie. On the surface, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith don't work, but it works surprisingly
I know, right?
well.
You would not think that this would work out so well.
Not at all.
But they do a great job.
That's my favorite scene.
Oh, it's him.
Is when he's upside down in the Ford and
Elvis
they're driving on top of the tunnel.
Elvis isn't dead. He just went home.
Yeah.
And this is the humor of Tommy Lee Jones that I wish he did in Batman, but didn't. When he did this,
over the top.
He was too over the top in Batman. In this film, when he does that and he's doing, and you see his hair, like he's upside down and he's doing this.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I was in here watching it. I was in this room rewatching it. That pretty much that whole scene when I was finishing up like yesterday or a couple days ago, and that was the first time I actually put my head upside down to see how it really looked. He was literally upside down shooting that. That was not an effect. Like he was literally. There's no way that he wasn't upside down because the hair, even like the blood in his face.
Yeah,
he shot the whole scene upside down.
That's
and it was actually like, wow. I mean, for a guy his age to be able to handle that much, like blood rushing to your face. I mean, he was what? Like he was in his later 50s, if not 60 here.
Wow, was he really?
Yeah, he was still in good shape.
I mean, how old is he? He's an older dude.
He's up there.
Yeah, I feel like he's been an older dude since.
He's been an older guy since the 80s. So let's.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. He was born 1946.
Was he really?
He's an old dude.
He was born in 1946.
Yes,
September
he was.
15th, 1946.
He is 77 years old.
Yeah. So if this movie came out how many years ago?
30?
Let's say 25, 30 years ago.
Let's say Yeah, he was in his
6 years. Oh yeah.
He was in his 40s. Late 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Late 40s.
He just didn't age well at the time. Looks wise.
Oh, sorry, Chuck.
I don't have
Chuck,
gray hair.
You're right around the corner.
Jeez, thanks.
But yeah, I mean, D'Onofrio he knocked it out of the park, and it still holds up today. It's the way that he contorts, the way that he's jerky, and the voice is
perfect.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's so disgusting. Like when he first starts off, he's kind of like reserved, put sugar in water, like he's learning how to talk, And then later on, he's just like, "Oh, get out of there!" Like it's
sugar.
More.
When he's going nuts, in the truck. And he's like banging the thing up against the side of
the diamonds.
Unbelievable.
And it's funny because like he's right off the bat, he's already got like milky eyes. You know, like he's pretty much like
he gets worse by the end of the film.
Yeah.
But it's like it seems very sudden. Like he's slightly different later on, but then suddenly when he's climbing up the tower, and he throws her down, his face is decaying off.
It's gradual. It's gradual.
It's
because the suit is decaying. Edgar itself is decaying.
I know.
So it's gradual. But
there's a massive jump at that point.
I think there only is at that point because we're now noticing it because of to Will's point, this was shot in 480p back in 97.
Well, I've always noticed it though.
It wasn't as noticeable back in the 90s as it is.
It wasn't as noticeable back then. There's a lot.
I feel like I always noticed it.
It's a victim of digitizing everything and upscaling things. That's I think kind of what I feel reason, like.
If it was the case back in the 90s, is because the clarity wasn't there, so you weren't able to see the gradual degrading.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it just happened.
Yeah.
Versus now you could see it, because I could notice it more and more as time went on. Here's the thing: the guy Ben Cross who plays the morgue attendant at the front desk.
Sure.
And he gets like glued to the ceiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's in Men in Black 2.
Yes, he is.
Which I don't.
Yeah, he's in. I think he's in all three, isn't he?
How?
He's
He's
dead.
a different character.
Eh,
He's playing a different character each time.
fine.
Yeah, that
Fine.
was the whole point. He was a very different character there.
That's fine. I want to talk about the beginning of the movie for a little bit because of how nonsensical it is. So, Will Smith is a cop, New York cop, and he chases down an alien.
Yeah.
A cephalopoid.
How he doesn't like nope out of the entire ordeal when like the cephalopoid pulls that gun out and it just vaporizes in front of him, and then later on he like scales the side of a building all the way up to the roof, and he keeps going. He doesn't stop.
Not even that. He ran all the way up.
I'm talking about before he ran
up.
Straight up. Before he ran up the before he decided to run up the stairs, or around the building or the ramp or whatever. Like, I would have noped out right then and there. Like, this is way above my pay grade. I don't need to be doing this. Exactly. I'm going home, but no, not Will Smith.
I think that's the point of his character, is that he wanted to know what was going on, and he was very determined, and that's why he was kind of pulled in.
I am half the man you are.
I am half the man you are. Lines like that were perfect for Will Smith.
Yes.
You know, like he's being serious, but then again, he's still like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. Now it's dark. Anyway, it was really well put together. You look like you're at a concert with that light coming in from your angle. Yeah, hang right there. I got some glow sticks for you.
Go for it.
So I can't find anything I don't like about this movie. There's things in it that could be fixed and could be redone, cleaned up, whatever. But honestly, like, I can't think of a thing I don't like about it. The question I start to come into, I think we touched upon this just in regular conversation, just like anything, when you make a movie and then you make a sequel to the movie, suddenly the love interests just don't exist, and they write a quick line or just ignore it completely as to why they don't exist. Why is this Laurel character not continuing on?
Dogma.
Because she was busy with Dogma.
Which
was the next.
Do you have a better explanation? Dogma.
The second movie didn't come out the next year.
I don't. No, then I don't know.
I think in the music video she was in it. I think she was in the music video too. But the reality is, like, they
probably shot the music video at the same time that they were shooting the movie.
Maybe, but it looked different.
If that's the case, if that's your question, then at the end of the movie, when the big aliens playing marbles with
our galaxy,
but then at the end of Men in Black 2, we're inside a locker.
We're a locker.
Yeah, we're in a locker.
Yep.
But the locker's within the galaxy, and the galaxy's within a bigger galaxy, and the green grass grows all around and around, and the green grass grows all around. Like, there's more to it.
Yeah, but we're no longer in a marble, though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it might have been just further.
They were just because. I mean, it's only because in this movie there was a galaxy inside a jewel the size of a marble, and then in Men in Black 2, all the people were in the locker at the bus station. That's the only reason I did, but it's still, the continuity in that is still off.
Yeah.
Same with the love interest.
How is the continuity of that off?
Because we're in a marble and then we're not. Now we're in a locker. We're only in a locker because we're just portraying what was happening with the other creatures in the locker in Men in Black 2.
Right. So we're in a bigger locker.
Yeah, but isn't that like the whole point of this movie is the dog?
Everything's
The dog was like, just because something is important doesn't mean that it's really, really small.
Oh yeah, just small doesn't mean it's not important.
Yeah.
Right. Even as I said, like a marble or a jewel. And because he alluded to that in the film, in the galaxy, which was on Orion's belt, was a little marble.
Yeah.
At the end, the big aliens playing marbles, the Earth was in the galaxy, in our galaxy, in a universe encased in a marble.
Right.
And then in Men in Black 2, when he goes to the bus stop, when Kay goes to the bus stop and he goes into the locker, and those little creatures.
Yeah.
They're all worshiping because he has to watch.
The
timekeeper. Because they're in a locker at the end of Men in Black 2, now all of a sudden we're in a locker.
Yeah.
With an adult film selection in the back.
Oh.
Yes.
And they all go run into the back, and Will Smith is like, y'all are nasty.
That was ridiculous. Oh, man. Anyway.
But I still don't understand how that's like. It's not a continuity error. I mean, it's kind of like it's like a fourth dimension joke. Like,
are we in a locker or are we in a marble?
We're in a
you
locker.
could be in both. You could be in a locker inside of a marble, or a marble inside of a locker.
But we were We were inside of a marble, inside of a bag of marbles.
Okay.
That a big giant alien was carrying around.
Yeah.
And now
and within that, you could be inside of a locker that's inside of a bigger thing. Like, it scales up. You can. It's not that far fetched to me.
No.
No.
Okay. No.
No.
I don't buy it. I don't buy this one.
I don't really have a problem with that
they
at
were
all.
just doing it. They were just. I know why they were doing it. They were doing it because it was just keeping cohesiveness with the film itself. Because there was a locker, Men in Black 2, now we're in a locker at the end of the movie. Because we were in a marble in Men in Black 1, now we're in another marble. You know, the Earth is in a marble.
Okay.
Which I get that. But then they did Men in Black 3.
Yeah. How does the neuralizer work?
You gotta look right here.
They just neuralize the whole planet when you like sign up to be like Men in Black, and like everybody on the planet forgets that you ever existed. Is that what happens?
Well, they erase all your identity.
Yeah, but
burn your fingertips, which would never happen. You burn your fingertips, your fingerprints grow back.
Well, that was the question that. Well, I mean, it depends on how bad the burn is, really.
For him to just go
I know.
That does not make sense.
Every time I see that, I'm just like, you had to be holding that really long for that to be a permanent burn.
Yeah,
destroyed.
That's not burning off your
who've
fingertips.
Been burned, and it's just like their skin just looks like glass now. It's
yeah.
Weird.
But fingertips though.
Oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was valid. Whatever. Never mind.
There is one difference between.
We were talking about. I was asking a question about the neuralizer and how it works.
Yeah.
Just like everybody on the planet, like get neuralized to your existence.
So this time I was thinking about that, like when he basically is making his decision to join the Men in Black when he's sitting there on the park bench. He's like, you're just going to leave everybody behind. I'm thinking, who's in his life? Like, where are his parents? They don't explain it. I mean,
you don't know anything about this guy. You met him this morning.
Right. But that's the thing is, like, we don't know anything about his character. Will Smith's character here, James Edwards. Who's in his life? Who's going to notice when he's gone?
We don't know.
Yeah, and it's never explained. Like, where's his family? Did he have a girlfriend?
It is explained.
When he's out there ripping and running on the street. When he's out there ripping and running on the street.
Deja vu.
With no, not deja vu, but when he's out there ripping and running on the street in like dressed in black, like how does a beat cop walking by and not go, "Hey"?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Because they just erased his existence.
How? Do they neuralize the planet and just make everybody forget he existed? That was my question.
Dr. Strange came and did his.
They do. They answered that question in Men in Black 2.
Do they really? Do they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because the Statue of Liberty is
a giant.
Oh no, you're right. I completely forgot about that. So okay.
But
that's
that doesn't
weird.
Make any sense,
that's
though,
weird.
Let's just say the Statue of Liberty is a giant neuralizer.
What if you're not looking at it?
Yeah. What if you're not looking at it? What if you're not there?
What if you're in Seattle? What if you're in Seattle?
If that's the case, who's reprogramming them? Okay, Chili. Who's reprogramming them? And what are how far back are they going? To the day of his birth?
Okay.
That's wild.
J-K-O.
That's wild.
Whoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's.
Let's say his mom. Let's say his mom is in Seattle at the time that the neuralizer on top of the Statue of Liberty goes off. How's that work?
It doesn't.
The Space Needle?
One cares.
Now, no,
I care.
Other thing that makes sense. The other thing that would make sense.
No, you don't.
We should care.
But no, because it's Men
this
in Black.
podcast is built on caring about things that are ridiculous, okay? That's the premise. That's the idea. I want to know how the neuralizer works, okay? And you can't just say Statue of Liberty, because what about people who aren't in New York? Come on.
I'm just saying, no. With him,
They
like,
live.
people not knowing
The
who he
answer
is
is they live. That's what I'm going with. The answer is they live.
Here's another simple theory. These guys are like above. These guys are like above.
There's a giant
the FBI,
satellite.
right?
There's a giant satellite that's sending out this signal. I'm sorry, Lee.
Oh yeah.
So these guys are above the FBI, above the CIA, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense that they would send out an agent to like his family's home and just be like, boom, you never knew your son. Boom, you never knew this guy. Like, just to the people who were like directly connected to him.
And everybody that ever went to school with the guy, everybody that ever knew him, every job that he ever worked at, right?
Yeah.
Is this where you're going?
I mean, well, no. What I'm saying is,
That
if
seems like a
anybody came
massive
up on the street and
operation.
recognized him, they would just neuralize them right there on the spot. But starting off with the ones who were directly connected with him, that's the only other theory I can come up with. Otherwise,
I have other questions
it makes
too.
No sense.
This is not my only one.
Well, no, the only way they do it is when he joins the Men in Black and he puts on the last suit he'll ever wear,
and he makes it look good.
He makes it look good.
I make this look good. That was a huge line back in 97.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, did you see the zoom up? Like, whoop, I'll make this look good. And to the car. All this money, government, all this government money.
Ford POS.
Ford POS.
Yeah.
Buckle up. We got to work on your manners. Buckle up, please. No, but when they go through the whole monologue and everything about, they erase his social security card, they erased his fingerprints. That's how they're saying that it doesn't touch the other people, but that's their way of writing it off.
That's stupid.
It's Men in Black.
That's
it's a
stupid.
satire comedy about.
That's stupid.
What would have been great is this would have been a great movie to throw some Easter eggs in towards like They Live, like even throwing I'm all out of bubblegum kind of.
Yeah,
would have been.
That would have been really cool. That would have been really cool.
Movie.
You know what? I just had an idea.
I'm all out of bubblegum.
I just had an idea. They could have made the moon a neuralizer.
Yeah.
That would have worked a lot better than the Statue of Liberty.
Maybe.
Just turn the moon into a moon. They're the Men in Black.
We are them. We are them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where it started.
We are the men.
Oh my God. So that's
so I do that. So I hold on one second. I do that when I do. So I sell for my job. I sell finished basements, and I sell a product that you can remodel your entire basement with. And I'll say it here. They say that you need to leave at least a quarter of your basement unfinished if you want to finish part of your basement for dry storage and stuff like that. And I talk to my customers. I go, they say this, and I'm like, I haven't figured out who they is yet. Like, they say that you should keep a quarter of your basement unfinished. And every time I do that, my mind always goes back to Men in Black. I'm like, who's they? The Men in Black are the ones telling us to keep part of your, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh.
That is every job I've ever worked has always been like broken. Like they say, who's they? We don't know.
Who's they?
Like we don't know.
Oh,
you would, do you eat meat? Do you eat a lot of meat?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
They say a lot about meat that baffles me to this day. I have no idea who they are. I have no idea where these things come from. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyways, so yeah, my first thing was about the neuralizer, and I forgot what my other thing was, like my other problem that I had with this movie. It'll come back to me.
But while you're doing that, so to throw Easter eggs in, the part when he first neuralizes Kay?
Yeah.
And then they're in the pie shop?
Yeah.
And it's
Are you talking about 3?
No, this movie.
Pie shop.
He shoots off Jeeves' head.
Yeah.
And he neuralizes him, and it flashes, and then they're in having pie.
You said K. You're backwards. They're not.
K.
They're not having pie. They had egg rolls. They went to a Chinese food place. The pie is in 3. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He neuralizes Jay.
Or 2. Whatever.
And he goes into the shop, and they're having food, and it's the end of a joke.
Yeah.
That would have been the best.
This one's eating my popcorn.
Right. That would have been the best part of and I'm all out of bubble gum. If they just used the very last part of that, that would have
been funny. That would have been really funny.
It would have been a beautiful Easter egg for anyone who's ever.
And that would have tied in with the aliens.
100%.
Yeah, that would have been.
It would have been with the glasses.
Yep.
So I figured out my other little problem with this movie. They're at the Men in Black headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
They're processing aliens coming in to Earth.
Correct.
Where are they coming from? Where is this spaceport? Where is this airport? Where are they landing? What is happening? Why is nobody else seeing this?
I don't know.
It's the same place that's in They Live. It's underground.
It's underground, yet somehow in space.
It's just in They Live. They take manholes.
Yeah.
And this is a big elevator.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they walk through that room, when they open the doors, they have the giant
fan
with the giant vent. Like, what's the purpose of this?
I'm sure it smells.
Elevator.
I'm sure it probably smells. Like all the aliens and everything coming through. And
that guy just sits there and sniffs it all day.
Oh God.
Right now, your skills mean absolutely.
Yes.
There's so many good lines in this film. I think that for me is one of the best parts of this film is there's so many good lines in this film. You know, I don't want any tiger or sport or this or that. And he's like, okay, Slick.
And then
later, the rest of the movie.
Then later on, Zed's just like, okay, go get him, Tiger. He's like,
take sport here with you.
Zed.
We ain't hosting an intergalactic kegger. Zed.
When I watched this, I was going into this apprehensive almost. Like, okay, this movie was made 97.
Yeah.
So it's 26 years old.
Yeah, I got that problem.
I'm like, I'm not gonna like this film. I love this film. This film was fantastic.
Of course.
This movie was. I love the opening part. You going fishing?
I see.
I would have thrown these ones back.
Yeah.
So back to the beginning there. I thought it was really interesting. We see this character. What was his name? Was he L or no? He was something else.
D.
Okay, D's there. How long between this conversation that Tommy Lee or that K is having with D is J chasing after the alien here?
I think fairly quickly.
I figured that too, but isn't it strange that they would both just retire at the same time? I figured it'd be something more like, years went by and, he had a few other things go on, and then he gets to the point where he's ready to pass the torch. It just seems strange that he's
2 days.
Another dude retired, and then 2 days later,
2
he
days.
retires too.
You actually get that piece
strange.
In this movie, like not bad for your second day of work.
Not bad for your second.
Exactly. What? Okay.
So
you just got through earlier that day telling him you're not allowed to have the neuralizer until you grow up, and later on that night, here you go. I'm retiring. Have a good one.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, if 1 hour is an intergalactic week, standard week, then how long is 2 days?
And 37 hours. We go by 37-hour days.
Yes, and they're going by 37-hour days.
Or you're going to go nuts, one of the two. Did you notice, as a kid, I never noticed this, but the opening credits is a bug flying, and it smashes against the windshield, and they wipe it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it ends with the big bug.
Right.
As a kid, I never put those together.
Yeah, absolutely. It was foreshadowing right there in the opening. I thought the beginning of it with the font and the music, not directly, but always kind of reminded me of Beetlejuice. You get a bug flying around, and you've got dun 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 dun, and you got like the weird, like long, creepy alien font. I'm like, it's kind of Burton-esque.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because the music is done by Danny Elfman.
Well, there we go. Okay, so there's that. But the cool thing is the writer.
What hasn't he done?
Dude, the writer.
I'm surprised you didn't. I'm surprised you didn't know that. You of all people should have known that.
I think it did say that, and I forgot. But okay, there's that. Now, 2 of the writers on here. We got Lowell Cunningham and Ed Solomon. Ed Solomon is one of the writers for all 3 Bill and Ted movies. So I thought that was interesting.
Time travel. That's where it comes into play.
There you go.
Yep. But,
there you go.
I mean,
Can we
and
just get over it? We can just do Hot Tub Time Machine and just do the worst time travel movie
no,
ever.
the best part about that was Crispin Glover. When's he gonna lose his arms? That was the best part of that whole movie. The rest of it I could forget about.
It was awful.
It was pretty funny.
That movie was
Motley Lou,
really bad.
Lugal.
That movie was really, really bad.
Yeah, but that was the idea.
Sure it was.
But I was a little confused about this gap that, he retired 3 days after his partner retired. I thought that was strange.
Well,
there might be a gap, but it just seemed weird.
they planted the seed for it when he zoomed in and creepily peeked in on his wife or girlfriend or whatever she was.
Now there's my other question.
That keyboard makes no sense.
No, not at all.
He just hits the same
Not
keys.
at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It makes no sense.
So there's a line.
1997 Google Maps makes no sense. Nothing about that makes any sense.
Well, that's not Google Maps. That was whatever the MIB had.
Okay.
But the reality here was, okay, so he goes back. They say what, man recovers from 50-year coma or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's okay. So then he goes back, goes to Truro, Massachusetts, I think they called it or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Never heard of it. Doesn't exist. Goes back there, lives his life with her, becomes a postmaster. And he's very much I know we're jumping into the second movie here, but from my memory, when he kind of wakes up and realizes everybody in there is an alien, and he comes back outside, there's a line in there about his wife and everything, and he punches him in the face because he brings it up. I guess it's a sore subject. She left him. That's why she's no longer in the picture.
Okay.
I looked it up today before we started the conversation. Somebody remembered that there was a line in there about him and his wife, and he gets upset about it. So the idea is, or he, girlfriend, wife, whatever she is, the reality is something happened and it didn't work out.
I waited 35 years for you to leave you.
Yeah.
Messed up.
Yes.
Because he says in this movie, he's like, oh no, she's still single. She never. Okay.
I think some of the best dialogue, not to jump part, was when he goes into the morgue with the girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, do you feel that? And he's like, well, yeah.
It's all good.
Well, wherever it is, whole, intact.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And the funniest part is Tommy Lee Jones, his names for him throughout the whole film.
Mr. Black.
Mr. Black,
White.
Dr. White.
Yeah.
I'm like, and you see Will Smith every time, what? What are you doing? We here at the FBI, we don't have a sense of humor. Sure.
Yeah.
And but the dialogue in this film, though, for 1997 and for the type of film that it is actually really, really, really well done.
It really
yes.
And I was even when the part when she calls him back and they find the little alien inside the head of the old dead guy, Rosenberg, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
When you look at it from the side, you can actually see the cut of his head where the mask is. That right there, except for the little green guy, is also a practical effect too, because they just opened something up in real life.
Sure.
All right.
What did you find?
The other writer. There's 3 other things I'm seeing here. So Ed Solomon and this other dude, what was it, Lowell Cunningham. Most of his credits. So we've got Men in Black International, Men in Black 3, Men in Black 2, an alternate ending apparently. He also did Sith Apprentice, The Jedi Hunter, official Star Wars fan film something, Darth Vader Psychic Hotline, all these weird
Darth Vader Psychic.
God,
what?
What?
Men in Black Alien Attack comics.
Darth Vader Psychic Hotline.
Yes. So
we're stopping everything to talk about that.
A little nutty here.
What is Darth Vader Psychic Hotline? Is it a skit? That sounds like a skit that would have been on Robot Chicken. That sounds like a skit that would have been. That's straight.
Miss Cleo. It's a parody. It's a joke. It's a parody of Miss Cleo and various other television psychic commercials, but with Darth Vader giving readings to various Star Wars characters.
A parody of Miss Cleo. Hang on, a parody of Miss.
Dude.
She wasn't even Jamaican.
Okay, and this is really interesting because in this...
she was a parody all on her own.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So, in this thing, the guy who does the voice, it's weird. The guy who does the voice for Luke Skywalker is actually author Kevin Anderson, who's written a bunch of Star Wars novels, which I have some of them on my shelf. So that's really, really weird and interesting here. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was an interesting tie that we talk so much about Star Wars, and here's this guy who was a half writer for this, and it
sounds like he wrote a bunch of fanfic.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous because it's like he doesn't have a lot under. He has 13 things under his belt, and it's like Men in Black and Star Wars, and that's it.
Fan
you know,
fiction.
if I was a writer and I was known for Men in Black, I'd be fine.
Yeah,
but Ed Solomon, I feel like this is definitely connected to Ed Solomon stuff because some of the stuff that happens here is very reminiscent of even Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which I just revisited this past week.
Well, the way they wrote this film too, but even like when Kay knows who to go talk to, and you pull up and you see this locksmith. That's what they're selling deadbolts and
jewelry,
different locks.
Oh,
and
that
you meet Frank the dog.
Yeah.
And Will Smith, this guy is bad costume. He's definitely an alien. All of a sudden, Frank starts talking. You're like, they did a really good job throwing you off in that case.
Absolutely.
A little bit, yeah.
And then the little, is it the noisy cricket? Is that the name of his gun?
Yep.
That's the part where I kind of noped out. When he shoots that and he gets thrown back and he flies through the windshield.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, his butt just lands in there. The funny thing is,
not a drop of blood. Nothing.
Driving.
He went through a windshield, not a scratch.
You see the guy who's driving, and all you see is like the side of them and their arm. And I always am like, I'm surprised they didn't just have a scene like, what are you doing?
Right.
But no, it just randomly falls in there.
The guy's okay.
Everybody's fine. It's just more like a minor setback. Well, that's interesting.
So
minor setback.
So
I just fell through the
asking,
windshield of a car.
Yes.
That is a man's butt.
So you go through this whole thing with the dog. And the dog's like, oh yeah, the Archelians, blah 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 blah, and he knows everything, right? And when he puts them down, he flat out lies and said, I have no idea where it is, because he walks away and then he starts barking at the cat. He knew the whole time that the cat had the galaxy.
Because he wasn't gonna say it out loud.
Why? Why wouldn't?
Because
you've already said this much. You've already proven I'm coming clean with everything, and I'm telling you. Yeah. Why wouldn't you just say find the cat?
Because basic information is one thing. Direct information is very different.
I like the best part is when he's literally shaking him down. It's all right. He owes my friend some money. There's so many good stupid little lines like that.
It's fantastic.
I
wonder what he was. Because he could have shaken a real dog in real life.
Probably not.
But it looked like it though. It was well done.
It looked like it.
Overall was really, really good. Like I watch it, I'm like. And then when the end credits came on and you hear "We Are the Men," I turned it off. I was like, I'm not listening to this song
I am
again.
so sick of that song. And that goes to something that Lee was saying earlier about oversaturation.
Yeah.
This movie was incredibly oversaturated when it came out.
Place.
You could not escape this.
And when the second one came out, it was such a letdown for so many people because it didn't live up to the first.
I actually liked the second one.
And the song was weird. What, Nod Your Head, Black Suit's Coming?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was just, it didn't even make sense.
I would have just left the same theme song.
Yeah, I mean, it would have worked fine, but he was just trying to capitalize on.
Yeah, how's Will Smith going to make his money?
Yeah. I don't know, just being Will Smith. And
why wouldn't he continue to do that? In all honesty, why wouldn't he continue to make these songs to go along with whatever movies that he was going to be in?
Wild Wild West.
That's the big one. Wild Wild West. The single made more money than the movie.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
How's your mom?
You guys got red.
Neck.
You got red.
Neck. Anyway, Color of Passion. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I want to touch upon one other actor here that popped up in a ton of stuff since the 80s, but didn't really get credit until later on for a couple of things that he did. But Tony Shalhoub, he plays Jeeves in all of these, right? Yeah. All three of them.
Didn't he play Monk?
Yeah, he was Monk.
Yes.
That was his big, it's Tony Shalhoub from Monk. I just watched a movie called Quick Change, which is Gina Davis, Randy Quaid, and Bill Murray. I've seen bits of it forever, but the whole concept is Bill Murray is dressed like a clown, robs a bank, and Gina Davis and Randy Quaid are like in on it too, and he uses them to pretend that they're hostages. So they all get out, they all sneak out, and the whole idea is them just trying to get out of the city before the cops realize that he snuck out and he's no longer in the bank. Now, Tony Shalhoub is in it, and this is like 1989 Tony Shalhoub, and he has a lot more hair, and he does not speak a lick of English. Like that's his character doesn't, and he's like the funniest part because he keeps saying the same thing, and they're like, "Airport, take us to the airport." And he goes, yeah," and it's like, but they really they make a big thing about him, even though he's not a huge character. Like he gets a lot of screen time, more than I expected for what his character was doing. But he's hilarious. Like he was always really, really good at the small parts he had, and it wasn't until Monk and a few other things that he was given like a lead role. I mean, he was Monk, Galaxy Quest, and 13 Ghosts are the three things I think of where he actually got like a big role.
He was in Galaxy Quest?
Character.
He was in 13 Ghosts?
Yeah, he was the guy. He was like the father. It was his uncle that died, or whatever.
Really?
Fake died. Yeah, it was Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Who was he in Galaxy Quest?
He was one of the one of the dudes. One of the guys.
One of the
Red
dudes.
shirt?
No, he wasn't the red
One
shirt.
of the dudes.
That was Hammer, Justin Hammer from Iron Man. Sam Rockwell. Yeah.
Tim Allen.
Yeah, not Sam Rockwell. No, Tony Shalhoub was a big deal because he was the one who fell in love with the alien.
That wasn't Alan Rickman?
No. No.
That was a fantastically horrible movie.
Never give up. Never surrender. But, I mean, all in all, I really I'm glad we rewatched this movie and we got a chance to talk about it because there's so many movies from my childhood that I'm like, this still stands up and it always will. Jurassic Park will always stand up. This will always stand up. So to get a chance to actually talk about this in detail without people saying, oh, yeah, you're talking about some old movie. It's like, no, this, for what it was, it hit the nail on every single head it was trying to hit.
Yeah.
And
the satire, the comedy,
yes,
the seriousness.
Like it had its goofiness and it had its sci-fi seriousness. And again, like we were just talking about earlier, like it actually made sense. Like it lined up. In itself, this movie the story made sense and it was cohesive.
So here's the one.
It's when you get to the second movie, every time you have a sci-fi movie and there's a second, that's when you start
The second movie was fine. It was the third one they lost it.
Yeah.
But here's the one question I do have. So at the end of the film, before Will Smith neuralizes Tommy Lee Jones, Tommy he goes to the bug. He's like, "Eat me, eat me."
Yep.
And
Eat me.
he gets eaten, and all of a sudden Will Smith is having the conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden the bug blows up from the inside out. He's like,
"Eat that out on my face before something bad happens."
He's like, "I
Too
like
late.
this gun." An hour later, he's like, "Being in the belly of an intergalactic cockroach is one of 100 memories I don't want." And I'm like,
An hour later?
10 minutes.
yeah. 10 minutes later.
I mean,
they were
in the
dry.
movie, it's like 30 seconds, but yeah.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, they were clean, they were dry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He's like, being in the belly of the cockroach is one of 100 memories I don't ever want.
Right.
And I'm like, that was so cool. Why would you why would you not want that memory?
Well, so he can
you
live a
went
happy
in
life
after your favorite gun. Does it not? And then 15 minutes later, nope, not my favorite gun. I don't care. Don't care.
The only thing that kind of bugged me, but it doesn't bug me. I go back and forth on it. Kind of like, I'm not going to open that can of worms. I'll just say the way that he like forces himself to say the same thing that Dee said. He just looks up and goes,
The stars.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they? The stars. I never really look at them.
Yeah, that's one line in the
Like-
movie that was kind of like, why?
I think it. So 2 thoughts. One, he's trying to be personable and he's just not used to it, and he remembers what he said. 2, maybe that's code for it's time. Maybe that's like their secret code for.
How would Will Smith know that? How would Will Smith know that that's the code?
Maybe he heard it when he was getting dressed. I don't know.
Nah.
Maybe he was briefed upon that.
Nah.
I don't know.
Well, we do.
I don't
definitely
think
know
Will
that
Smith was
Smith
briefed
hasn't grown
on
up.
much throughout the course of this movie. It was basically, come in, I've chosen you, we're going to do this one mission together, you survived, you're in charge, goodbye.
I love that, you know, you can have this when you grow up. And then in Men in Black 2, he's like neuralizing everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You neuralize your last 4 partners. Yeah, well, blah, blah, blah.
I think one of the best part is when they're training them or when they're testing them, and all, you know, you have the, why are we here? Looking for the best of the best of the best, sir. And he's like, you know, going off and making fun of them.
Honors.
And
he made a point, though.
They're all trying.
He made a really valid point in that scene. Where
Nobody
like,
has any idea.
Nobody has any idea why we're here. You're like really excited right now,
yeah.
and you're just like, whatever. You have no idea why we're here.
No
why
idea.
Are you?
And he drags that table over.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
Yes.
All of it's great.
And
why did you believe that poor Penny had to die?
And I love his line. It was a great shot, though, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting there watching everyone else is getting pegged.
He's not snarling. He's sneezing.
He made it.
He's
you know what?
Out. How'd I
you
feel
know
if
what?
Somebody came
now,
in and shot me down as I'm running on the treadmill.
Now, while I don't condone, you know, shooting little girls in the head, of course not. I don't condone this at all. He makes a valid point. Why is she there? Why is she there? Why is she hanging out in this dark alley with all of these massive aliens with quantum physics books? Why? What is happening in this scenario?
I appreciate if you ease off my back about it. Let me get all up off that.
or do I owe her an apology?
Yeah.
But Zed's response is like, and he walks off. It's just, Rip Torn has a really weird face, and the way he uses it just blows my mind. But anyway.
I can't take him seriously, even in this.
No.
I can't take him seriously in anything I will ever see him in again.
Yes. Who, Rip Torn?
After Freddy got fingered, I can't.
Absolutely.
I can never look at him the same.
I know.
I can't do it. I can't.
Get him a job. No, you get him a hospital. You get a job.
No, because no. There's one scene.
Let's throw soccer balls together.
There's one scene in Freddy Got Fingered.
I can see that. I know.
I cannot ever look at him the same again.
Is it? Come on, Gord, get over here.
Yes. And you laugh.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yep. Anyways.
You're making Daddy proud.
Oh.
Proud? Get out! Anyway. I'm tapped.
You're tapped?
I love this movie.
It's so good.
It was fun. It was a fun thing to revisit. It was a fun thing to go back and watch.
Thanks, guys.
I think it was either this or Wild Wild West.
I thought we were doing both, but
no.
It was on the list.
Wild Wild West is on the back burner. We got other things that I want to talk about. But anyways.
That's still in the freezer.
The one thing that I will say, even though I love this movie and I loved going back and watching it, I don't see myself ever just throwing it on.
I will stumble upon it and stay on it.
Stumble upon it, sure, but like on purpose, will I put this on and watch it?
No. Well, as my kids get older, I'd probably show my kids, hey, this is what I watched when I was a kid, yada, yada, yada. That's where I would purposefully do it. It's funny. I think my wife would probably get
You wouldn't
mad
watch
at me
Men in
for
Black
doing
with your kids, Lee?
No.
Wow.
Not now.
Okay.
I let my son watch it.
There's
half.
6 and almost 8.
Okay.
I let my son watch it, the last half of it.
No, I wouldn't.
He's
have
4
them watch it now. No, my kids have watched the Lord of the Rings movies, but I wouldn't have them watch this.
This is
That's
Lord of the Rings
why.
is worse than
That's
this movie.
wild.
It's dialogue.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I covered my son's eyes for the part when the bug sticks Ben Cross to the ceiling and you can see him like the stuff dripping down.
Cross, yeah.
I was like, you don't need to see that part. He's like, I put a blanket up. He's like, no, I want to watch. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
you don't need to watch this part.
Of course.
But I mean, when I was a kid and I was growing up, and my dad would wake me up late at night, and he'd say, "Hey, I want to show you like Star Trek from when he was a kid." Those watching it, I don't remember.
Right.
It was like Star Trek Knight Rider. It was the memory of being with him.
Yes.
My 4-year-old son's not going to remember this movie 10 years from now at 4 years old. If I show him again
he'll remember the thought of it, but he won't remember the story.
Right. Not at all.
Yeah. That's how a lot of movies were for me.
I think that's why, speaking of this, I think that's why The Simpsons have such a special place in my heart, because I watched a bunch of those older episodes with my mom. So
yeah. And there's 25 years of Bert.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, and anybody that tells you differently is lying to you. The first 10 seasons of The Simpsons are essential. There is nothing there. You will never watch anything as funny as the first 10 seasons of that show ever.
Are you saying I should take on this endeavor?
No,
I'm
not. I'm not. Not 25 years. I'm not telling you to watch 25 years, because after the 10th season, 11th season, that show went downhill.
They tried to compete with South Park and Family Guy.
Yeah, it was really bad. They tried to compete with South Park and Family Guy, and it wasn't going to work. It took away all of the feel and the laughter and the jokes and the emotion of The Simpsons, and it all kind of went down the toilet. It got bad. It's bad.
Well, 25 years when you can only do so much after a while. I mean, look what's happening with Marvel and Star Wars after 25 years. It just, it's going to die. Are you okay?
You're saying key words that I got to go.
Oh,
go.
All right, see ya.
Bye. Yeah, go. I didn't. He's running. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Wow. It's not like, what's he waiting for? He's a grown man. He's a grown man, and he can't get up and leave if he has to. He's
sitting there giving me like the crooked eye. He's like,
I know.
I'm like, what is wrong with you?
I'm glad you said something, because I was going to ask him like 5 minutes ago if he was having a stroke. Like, dude, are we okay?
I'm like, what is the matter with you?
There's a lot wrong with him.
You're saying keywords.
What does that mean? Go! Wow. Oh my God. Anyways, we're gonna close this out without him. Oh my God, because I am beat. I am
fantastic.
Tired. I am so tired.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I've been up since 3, so.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah. Today was a wild day.
I've been up since 5. I've been up since 5, so I know the shtick.
Today was a wild day. Yeah. All right. No, but this movie's all right. I don't know which one of you? Oh, he's the one who doesn't like it. I don't know what his problem with 2 is. I don't have the same problem with 2 that he does. 2 is Rosario Dawson's bad. She's really bad. She's really bad in that movie.
Johnny Knoxville was okay. I thought he was kind of funny. The double head was funny.
Johnny Knoxville was tolerable, because I hate him in those Jackass movies. I hate that whole concept. I hate that entire concept. But
don't mind me. I'm still here.
This is.
I will be
back and forth,
standing here for the remainder of the conversation.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap this one up and call it a night. Lee gotta go.
Thanks. No, Lee's good now.
You don't look it.
Recovering.
You look.
Just recovering.
Okay.
Next time, just get up and go.
Really?
I'm thinking you're wrapping up.
As soon as you got up, I said, he's a grown man. He can get up and leave whenever he wants to.
But I thought we were wrapping up.
Well, not always. You know, these things they wind down a little bit. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they pick back up. Like this conversation.
Hey, I'm fine. Let's keep going now.
No.
Anyways.
Now we're done.
We're done.
Jerks.
Good night, everybody.
Have a great one, guys.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody. Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So, yeah, thanks again for popping by. And, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.